Welcome to Deep Dive Discussion, where we explore ideas, strategies, stories, and inspiration that truly matter.
Glad to be here.
So today we're diving into a classic, Zig Ziglar's See at the Top.
Ah, yes. A real cornerstone for personal growth, isn't it? Packed with stuff.
Definitely. And, it can be a bit dense. So our mission here is to kind of pull out the core ideas for you.
Yeah, give you the essence, the actionable bits, the Ziglar philosophy without maybe getting bogged down in all 400 pages.
Exactly. We want to look at those foundational elements for meaningful success.
Sound good.
Let's do it. And right away, Ziglar hits you with something important.
What's that?
This idea that the elevator to the top is out of order.
Huh, I love that quote. Says it all, doesn't it?
It really does. It just cuts through any illusion of, quick fixes or overnight success.
Right. No shortcuts. It's about effort. It's about climbing those stairs yourself.
Mm-hmm. Taking personal responsibility. That's a huge theme right from the start. You're not waiting for the elevator. You're actively climbing. And there's something valuable in the climb itself, isn't there? It's not just about reaching the penthouse suite.
Precisely. The journey, the steps, the effort, that's where the real growth happens. You build strength, you learn things. That's part of the win.
Okay, so if we're all taking the stairs, what makes someone, a winner in Ziglar's terms? What qualities does it take?
Well, he really focuses on the inner game first. Things like your attitude, your discipline.
Self-belief.
Huge emphasis on self-belief, yeah.
Yeah.
He calls a positive self-image the bedrock, the absolute foundation.
Makes sense. If you don't think you can make the climb, you probably won't even start right.
Or you'll give up at the first tricky step.
Yeah.
And it's not just like superficial rah-rah positivity. No, he ties it deeply to character, to fundamental quality.
Like what? What are these foundation stones he talks about?
He lists things like faith, integrity, honesty, loyalty, and love.
Wow, those are pretty core values.
They are, and he sees them as non-negotiable. Not just nice-to-haves, but essential for building anything worthwhile, anything that lasts.
Why those specifically, do you think?
Well, they all build trust, don't they? Trust in yourself, trust from others, and long-term success, especially involving other people, relies heavily on that trust.
Good point. And he also mentions winners often have a service mindset, like wanting to help others.
Yeah, contributing something beyond just themselves. That ties into it, too.
Okay, so you've got the inner foundation. What's next for the climb?
Goals. Clear, specific goals. It's that famous line, right? You can't hit a target you can't see.
Simple, but so true, if you don't know where you're going.
Any road will take you there or nowhere. Goals give you that direction, that purpose. They're your compass.
Does he get into the specifics, like the SMART framework? Specific, measurable.
He doesn't use the acronym, not explicitly, but the principles are definitely there. He stresses clarity, knowing exactly what you want, and measurability. How will you know when you've hit it?
Right. Not just, I want to be successful, but defining what success looks like for you.
Exactly. And crucially, breaking those big goals down.
Into smaller steps makes it less overwhelming.
Totally. It gives you those manageable chumps, those mini victories along the way that keep you motivated, keep you climbing.
And those little wins build momentum, build confidence.
Absolutely. Ziglar talks about reviewing your goals regularly, visualizing success. It reinforces your commitment, strengthens that belief we talked about earlier.
Okay, let's circle back to self-image. We know it's foundational, but how does he suggest we actively build a healthy one? It's not always easy.
No, it's not. He really digs into how a negative self-image can actually cause you to sabotage yourself.
How so?
Like you might unconsciously hold yourself back or shy away from opportunities because deep down you feel you don't deserve success. That fear of failure kicks in hard.
So it's about the internal chatter, the stuff we tell ourselves.
Very much so. He highlights the power of that internal dialogue, but also the influence of external messages, what you let in from others. You need to be mindful of your inputs.
So what's the fix? Just think positive thoughts.
It's more active than that. He suggests using positive affirmations, consciously choosing empowering self-talk to counteract the negative stuff.
Okay.
And also, how you present yourself matters. Your appearance, how you speak, your actions, they should reflect self-respect. It reinforces it internally.
And what about failure? Because everyone stumbles on those stairs.
Right. And Ziglar reframes it brilliantly. It's not a verdict on you as a person. It's feedback. It's a lesson learned.
A learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Extract the lesson, adjust, keep climbing.
Exactly. Don't let it define you. Let it refine you.
Got it. Now, those foundation stones, again, honesty, character, faith, integrity, loyalty, love. He really doubles down on these, doesn't he?
He really does. He sees them as like the structural integrity of your success. Compromise on these.
And the whole thing can crumble.
Eventually, yeah. It might look good for a while, but the foundation is weak. It won't sustain.
And this links back to confidence, too.
Definitely. True deep confidence, he argues, comes from living in alignment with these values. It's rooted in truth, in integrity, and for him, faith is a big part of that bedrock strength, too.
Makes sense.
Duh.
You can't fake that kind of confidence long term.
Not really. It has to be genuine.
Okay, moving on slightly. What about relationships? How do they fit into this picture of success?
Hugely important. Ziglar uses that great analogy. Relationships are like bridges.
Bridges. How so?
They connect us, allow us to get places we couldn't alone, but they need strong foundations, trust, communication to hold up.
And what's key to building those strong relationship bridges?
One thing he really emphasizes is that people care more about whether you genuinely care about them than how much you know.
That's powerful. Connection over credentials, in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a massive part of showing you care is listening, truly listening.
Not just waiting to talk.
Right. Seeking to understand the other person's perspective, that builds immense connection.
What else helps build those bridges?
Simple things, really. Showing appreciation, expressing gratitude, being someone people can trust, and being mindful of negative influences, choosing your company wisely.
That all makes sense. But climbing stairs, building bridges, it sounds exhausting. How do you keep going without burning out?
That brings us to balance, another critical piece for Ziglar.
Balance between what?
Between different areas of life. He often talks about family, health, career, and spiritual life. You can't just max out one and neglect the others.
Right, because if your health fails or your family life falls apart, what good is career success then?
Precisely. It's not true winning, not sustainable fulfillment. You end up undermining yourself.
So time management is key here.
Yes, but he frames it more as prioritizing. Consciously deciding what matters most in each area and allocating your time and energy accordingly, not just packing the schedule.
And that balance actually give you more energy?
He argues it does. It leads to deeper satisfaction, sustained motivation. He particularly stresses investing time in family.
And daily routines. Do they help?
Definitely. Good habits, consistent routines, they contribute massively to that overall sense of balance and long-term well-being.
You mentioned attitude earlier as a key quality. Let's dive deeper there. How important is it really?
For Ziglar, it's paramount. He basically says your attitude determines your altitude more than your aptitude.
Wow. More than talent or circumstances.
That's his firm belief. And the empowering part, attitude is a choice. It can be learned, cultivated.
So negative thinking is like shooting yourself in the foot before you even start climbing.
Pretty much. He sees it as a bigger barrier than almost any external obstacle. It just shuts down possibilities.
And gratitude plays a role here too.
A huge role. Actively focusing on what you do have, expressing gratitude, it shifts your whole perspective. It opens you up.
Finding the opportunity in difficulty.
Yes. Seeing challenges not just as problems, but as chances to learn and grow. And again, surrounding yourself with positive people helps reinforce that positive attitude.
Now, is this positive thinking just about ignoring problems, like putting on rose-tinted glasses?
Not at all, according to Ziglar. It's not about denying reality. It's about facing reality with hope and a proactive mindset. Believing you can find a way through.
So belief plus action.
Crucial distinction. Positive thinking without effort is just wishful thinking. You need both. Believe you can, then do the work.
And that creates a positive cycle.
Exactly. Positive thoughts fuel positive actions, which tend to lead to better outcomes, which reinforces the positive thoughts. It's an upward spiral.
What about people who say that's unrealistic?
He has a term for that, toxic realism. Sometimes it's just negativity hiding behind practicality. He sees optimism, real optimism, as a form of courage.
Courage to believe things can get better, even when it's tough.
Precisely.
Okay, so we have attitude, goals, self-image. What about the actual day-to-day?
Habits. The foundational role of habits. This is huge for Ziglar.
Habits are the steps on the staircase.
You could say that. He argues your daily habits are often more impactful than your big, lofty goals alone. Your life reflects your habits.
He has that quote, doesn't he? Something like, you don't rise to your dreams, you fall to your habits.
That's the one. Powerful, isn't it? It highlights the importance of those small, consistent actions.
So how do you build good habits and break bad ones?
His strategy is often about replacement. Don't just try to stop a bad habit with willpower. Consciously install a positive one in its place.
Willpower gets you started, but systems keep you going.
Exactly. Discipline and systems are more reliable long term, and consistency trumps intensity.
Meaning,
Showing up every day, even for a little bit, is usually better than going all out sporadically and then burning out. Keep taking those small steps.
and your environment matters here too.
Significantly, your surroundings can make it easier or harder to stick to good habits.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. What about hope? Where does that fit in?
Hope is like the fuel. It's the vital force, Ziglar says, that gives life meaning and helps you bounce back from setbacks, resilience.
And how do you cultivate hope? Does it just appear?
No, you nurture it by having that clear vision, setting those goals, making progress, even small progress. It builds hope. Achieving those milestones reinforces it.
What happens when hope fades?
Feelings of hopelessness often come from feeling disconnected, he suggests. Disconnected from purpose or from community.
And faith can help here.
For Ziglar, yes, faith provides a deep wellspring of hope, especially when things are really tough.
He also mentions speaking hope.
Yeah, actively expressing hope, talking positively about the future. It reinforces it for yourself and can lift others too. Words have power.
So, putting it all together, success, happiness, they're not accidents.
Definitely not. They are intentional results, the outcome of deliberate thoughts, actions, interactions. You choose them, in a way.
And serving others comes back in here.
Big time. He firmly believed that helping others, serving others, is a direct path to genuine happiness. It gives you purpose beyond yourself.
He also talks about wealth versus purpose.
Right. Yeah, making the point that money alone doesn't guarantee happiness. Wealth without purpose can actually lead to dissatisfaction, a feeling of emptiness.
And distinguishing pleasure from real joy.
Exactly. Fleeting pleasure versus that deeper, internal sense of contentment and joy. Happiness is an inside job, ultimately.
Not dependent on just external stuff.
Right. And every day is a chance to grow, to move towards that purpose, to build that happiness intentionally.
There's one last piece, though, isn't there? Something about permission.
Yes, granting yourself permission to achieve. This is subtle but important.
What does he mean by that?
He talks about self-sabotage, how sometimes unconsciously we hold ourselves back. We put internal roadblocks in our own way.
Why would we do that?
Often, he suggests, it stems from unresolved stuff. Guilt, shame, maybe fear of success itself, or feeling unworthy.
So how do you get past that? How do you give yourself permission?
Forgiveness is key. Forgiving yourself for past mistakes, forgiving others who might have hurt you, it releases those blocks.
And then consciously affirming.
You're right to grow. You're right to succeed. You're right to thrive. Recognizing your own inherent worth and potential. Embracing it fully.
Wow. So it's a complete package, inner work, outer action, strong values, balance, and believing you deserve it.
That really captures the essence of See You at the Top, I think. It's a holistic approach.
Well, thanks for diving deep with us into Zig Ziglar's See You at the Top. It's clear his message is timeless. Real success is that journey up the stairs, built on character, goals, habits, balance, step by step.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, inspired by Ziglar. Think about your own climb right now. What's maybe one specific stair that needs your focus today? Just one step you can take.
And maybe also, how can you help lift others as you make your own ascent? Something to ponder.
Definitely.
This deep dive was sponsored by The Bag Project. You can support a culture of generosity and make a difference. Find out more about them.
And remember to check out Ysh Estayo's latest book on Amazon.
Right. And if you need help with business consulting, AI, or book publishing, you can contact Ysh directly or just leave a comment. Thanks for listening.
Keep diving deep.